Hello. The PopCorner podcast is here to bless you with absolute beautifulness.
Oh God.
They are going to bring you entertainment throughout the
God.
years of content creation.
Where are you going with this?
And you are going to need to subscribe to be as happy as you will ever be. I don't know, I just read that on a fortune cookie once.
Okay.
That's where I was taking it.
All right. I was like, how are you gonna say Godzilla?
I wasn't gonna. No, that joke's terrible. This movie's awful. It has a joke of him going like, "Oh my god," and he's like, "Zilla." Terrible movie. 0 out of 10. That's it. That's the cast. Later.
Okay. Hello, everyone. PopCorn Podcast. Coleman, Draven, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. We skipped the first one. That's okay. Because you know what? So did Godzilla. But anyway,
Yeah, honestly, he did this movie too.
I disagree because that's a big debate among.
Oh, big debate.
Well, I'm kind of like your window in here.
Okay.
In a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot more of these movies, both older, Japanese kind of corny, Japanese kind of more serious
To
ones.
be fair, I mean, obviously these movies are newer, so like visually speaking, they're obviously better. But I like the concept of Godzilla being a bad guy and just destroying whatever town, Tokyo or whatever the
Right.
classic one was. I like the idea that this giant, monster who got obliterated and turned into this monster because of our being and our like atomic bombs and all
Yeah.
that jazz, radiations. That's a cool concept, and I
Yeah.
like the idea of him being like, "I'm gonna destroy all humans with my one move, the beam." He's like the one character that you go against online in Mortal Kombat where they just do the same move over and over. Because that's what this man does in this movie.
Okay. All right. So
I'm sorry.
I have
I'm
like
sorry.
I have like four things to say.
Go for it, dude.
As a Godzilla, I don't want to say I'm a mega fan because I can't name every movie, and I can't tell you the order, the series, the generation, all this. I can't do that off the top of my head, but I'm familiar. Like I can hold my own in a conversation with
Okay.
one of these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they say the Showa series or the Heisei Godzilla, all these different things. These are different eras of like Godzilla, and guess what? In some of those he's good, and some of those he's bad.
Okay.
So like then and now, that's Godzilla, man, and Godzilla is he's goofy like that. So first thing I want to say, you like the idea of Godzilla being a destructive force of nature. Well, I think there's 3 movies off the top of my head where I can think of that are like really great examples of that, and to my knowledge, they're all solo films. There's
Okay.
no
Like
villain.
series.
No, like there's no antagonist. It's just Godzilla is the antagonist to the humans.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
there's the original,
Mhm.
right? Where like that's clearly like, and that's the it's black and white. It's like 1954, I think.
I don't know.
This like direct response.
Like actually using like little mini props for cities. It's like,
Oh, they did that all the way up until like the 80s, dude. Yeah, no, that's not changing. And guess what? That actually got pretty good. Like there's stuff like if you look in like I could show you some movies from the 80s where the tanks literally look like toy tanks,
Yeah.
but some of the building damage and destruction looks awesome. Like I don't know, they kind of perfected that weird little, and it's very goofy. It's goofy.
Yeah.
Where you look at these new movies and like you saw the trailer for Godzilla X Kong, you're like that's goofy, right?
Oh yeah.
It's weirdly channeling a very similar energy, but like there's like hardcore fans that are like no, there's purists that are like no, it's not. That's not what Godzilla is. And I'm just like yeah, the fuck it is. It's absolutely what Godzilla is. Godzilla's always been kind of goofy, but to your point, there has been roots in message, and it's always about war.
Yeah.
There's a big part of war, and a lot of Godzilla movies, as a secondary undertone, are always about humanity's impact on nature, which this movie kind of did a little bit, but like it was very on the nose, right? There wasn't much like in one of the older movies, Godzilla literally fights like this giant smog monster. Like I mean, like that's that's pretty on the nose too as far as naming scheme, but like it's the same concept. So you got the original Godzilla movie, very anti-nuclear war. I think that's a big part of that one, and it's also a direct response to.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? I mean, there was how many years later? Not very many. But then you've got 2016's Shin Godzilla. That's another big one.
Okay.
I've never seen that one, but it's like generally lauded as like the best Godzilla movie. And this one is really different. It's like Godzilla evolves. Like there's different forms of like at one
So
point
he's like Nemesis from Resident Evil.
yes,
Has like three
kind of,
different forms.
and he's kind of like that. If I could show you some imagery, it's like he's real muscly and he's like a lizard, and it's like grotesque, almost body horror style, and like the beam, like or like the blast is more like a laser beam, and it's purple, and it comes out of his mouth and his tail. Dude, no, I've never seen this movie. I have never seen this movie.
It's kind of weird you haven't.
I know. You know, actually, I've wanted to like a million bajillion times. I just never have.
Yeah, I was gonna say for you not watching it, it is kind of weird.
You know, it's not. I've just heard so many good things. It's just like I just haven't. I don't know. I like to watch Godzilla movies, and like I've kind of been on like a returning kick right now, especially with like these MonsterVerse movies. Like, I mean, Godzilla vs Kong came out in 2021. Like
It's been that long.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're pretty close to get like these movies
Kind
are
of crazy.
Like these movies are pumping out now because King of the Monsters was 2019, 2021, and then 2024. I mean, these are pumping out, right? And then plus there was the Apple TV show, which is set in this universe. It's like 6 episodes or whatever. I haven't seen that yet. So like Godzilla it's going in multiple directions, and then Godzilla -1 just came out, the Japanese movie.
Oh, the one you were talking about.
Yeah, the one that like it was supposed to come to U.S. theaters for like a week, and then it did so well that it stayed for like a month and a half or something like that, and now it's getting a re-release in black and white to kind of be like that original movie.
Nostalgia,
Yeah,
for the nostalgia factor.
And like I'm, like the only reason I didn't ask you if you wanted to watch that one, and the only reason I never saw it in theaters is because I didn't want to go alone. I didn't know.
Is no one allowed to go alone to theaters? Is that a negative?
I'm not doing that. All right.
Like we go to watch a movie next time that we're in theaters. You see someone sitting by themselves, you're gonna walk up to them and be like, "Loser."
I will absolutely do that. Yes,
because that was you in Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, it kind of was actually.
Shout out to my cousin rejecting sitting by him.
I'm done. I've buried that hatchet. Quit bringing it up, okay?
I'm sorry.
You need to mature.
But it came in with the conversation.
Grow up.
Oh, okay.
Grow up.
Okay, my guy. All right.
But the only reason I didn't want you to go see Godzilla -1 when it was in theaters was because I'm pretty sure it's only in Japanese. So there's no. I mean, I don't know if you cared about that.
Man, like
I know
watch
you
anime.
You watch it. I was gonna say I know you watch anime.
Oh, what?
But you know, I hadn't really indoctrinated you into Godzilla yet. I was like, I don't want to
make it the first one. Yeah.
I don't want to throw off too many things. I haven't actually seen the movie myself. It could have been bad. You know, I didn't know at the time. And it turned out to be awesome, I guess. So I still haven't seen that one, but I'm pretty sure here soon we should also be able to see it digital. So maybe that's something later on in the year if we want to have a one-off. I think it'd be kind of cool because I do really want to see that one. I've heard the visual effects are phenomenal in it.
We'll see. We will see.
That's what I'm saying.
Because this movie was a movie.
this film was a film.
Well, I'll start off with my factor of the fact that, like, in general, I'm not really big on action movies anyway. So, like, coming into this movie, it was already on, like, the down. Like, it was already the underdog for, like, trying to win me over.
Right.
So, like, going into it, I was already kind of like, all right, let's see what we got here. And I mean, there are things in this movie that I actually like a lot, actually. There's a lot of things I don't like, which is that the movie is 90% human plot. I'm here to see monsters smack each other.
Once again, that is a big contempting point in the fandoms as well. Like, you know, what's the ratio and, like, what's too much, what's too little.
Like, I don't care about fucking Albert Wesker having a girl who's like, we're gonna kill the population, but not all of it. Only the good ones, basically, are gonna rise up to the top, making me think of like Resident Evil fucking 5 Wesker over here with her plan. Even though, like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. She's just like, I'm gonna press this button, whoop, and then you like call her, and then she's like, don't worry, guys. It's not going to kill everyone. It's just going to kill most people. And it's going to balance out. It's all okay. And then the plot twist is like, this thing is like an alien instead of like one of the monsters that are on Earth or whatever.
What if it just takes a hard left turn? She's actually a terrible person. She goes, we're targeting foreign countries. Don't worry about it. We're targeting third world countries. No one's gonna miss them. Like, well, imagine.
What?
Imagine.
Honestly, I think I would have liked that more. It would have
Like
been
if
more
she was just
interesting.
pure
Yeah,
evil?
just straight, yeah, terrible person.
Okay.
I mean, she honestly, I'm glad she died.
Yeah, I mean, there was no sense of redemption for her if she didn't die.
Yeah.
And
All I'm
like,
saying,
even still, her only redeeming trait is she at least tried to save her family, I guess.
like I said, there are good things in this movie that I like, but
Yeah.
something I could tell from this movie is like either A, I'm just a banger storyteller, or I like action movies all just follow the same formula to a T. Because there's so many beats that I'm like, this is gonna happen, and
Right.
then it happened exactly like I thought. I'm like, that's cool. Which I mean, to be fair, if you watch a lot of a genre, you can do that with any genre.
Right.
But like, it's just funny because I don't watch action movies like at all, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like, this is gonna happen.
I mean, I feel like this movie is like fairly predictable. What was like the biggest one that you thought like, oh, I thought I was being out of left field, and like you got it anyway? Do you remember?
Out of left field, like something that like.
Well, I know you said like, oh, she's gonna get saved by Godzilla or whatever, and like the beam hits the Ghidorah when it's gonna be.
Oh yeah, like I knew that was.
I was
yeah.
like, but like, come on, you knew she wasn't gonna die, so obviously something was gonna happen.
the, oof, the zoom ins on the monster's faces are so awkward.
I see. Okay, I gotta push back on that. So this happens.
It's just them like all menacingly, and then it just like, Marie.
This happens at least twice throughout the movie, and I think it works once and it doesn't work the other time.
Yeah, the Godzilla one was definitely more awkward than it was for the
The
three-headed.
Godzilla one was okay. So like the one for, well, no, it wasn't for Ghidorah. It was for Rodan. Remember on top of the volcano?
Oh yeah, too it was.
But
yeah, the volcano
Rodan was
monster.
actually creepy because like at this point you hadn't really seen him yet in the movie. He comes out for the first time. It's playing that music. It's really good, and it's showing the destruction of the volcano already happening in the city, and then it zooms in. And then it's almost like he looks right at the camera, and it's like that's a perspective of a bird you don't normally see looking straight at you, I guess.
I guess
Like,
that's a
when you see
fair
a bird-
argument. I guess. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it was kind of unnerving in a weird kind of way, and like plus you were like, okay, this isn't Godzilla, this isn't a good guy, this is bad.
It was just to me jarring at first because how much of a different shot it was. It was kind of weird.
Right.
But I was like, at the end of the day, it was good. I'm cool with it. But like I said, the Godzilla one was so
Yeah.
weird. Like at the end, like when he's like, yeah.
Because it's like they play it up with Godzilla's theme, and it's like really good. But Godzilla's theme is like almost meant to be kind of, I don't want to say villainous, but beefy. And in that moment, it's just a fake out. I'm just like, okay, all right, whatever. But
My biggest negative for this movie, like I said, was the people aspect of it because there's nothing interesting of it. It's either half the time the people are like, Mayday, Mayday, we gotta get out of here, we're retreating.
yeah.
Or it's this
I
family.
just watched our camera or our mic volume.
That's cool. I'm loud. It's cool. I'm loud. It's whatever. I don't care. Or it's the other half of the people side of things where it's, oh, we lost. What, Andrew is what his name is, or whatever the heck that kid's name. Huh? Do you think Andrew would have wanted this, dude? I don't even care about Andrew. I don't care about your family.
Andrew ain't thinking anymore, so we don't gotta worry
I don't
about him.
care. I'm here to see Godzilla smack some fucking three-headed dragon in his multiple faces. Like, there are some certain concepts I like. I like the idea of, like, at the very end with, like, the planes flying in behind Godzilla. Like, that shot was cool where, like, Godzilla's, rolling in.
Oh, you like
and
that?
And then you see, like, the military coming in with it. Like, that's cool. I think the only character, funny enough, that had, like, no time, like, you've told me he was in prior movies, but the guy who goes out with the nuke to like bring him back.
Yeah, he was in the last one.
That's a character that for some reason I was like, all right, this guy seems kind of cool and he's kind of important. And
Yeah.
then like, him actually like going down and like actually like touching Godzilla and having like a one-to-one moment.
Yeah.
He seemed more important to me. And I know you said he was in the prior ones, but
Yeah.
this is the only one I've seen.
He's got the gif. You might have seen it. Let them fight.
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Like I said, like he as a character for some reason spoke more to me, and he's not even in this movie that much. More than this main guy character and his garbage wife or ex-wife that starts the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then this Andrew Dead Kid. Ooh, he's gonna be in FNAF now.
Andrew Dead Kid.
Andrew
That's
Dead
a great last name, dude.
And then Madison.
I'm Andrew Dead Kid. And I'm running for mayor.
I'm in.
All right, yeah.
I mean, that whole family aspect. Did it need to be there?
Okay.
Like, I don't.
I actually you
Push
haven't
back if you want.
no. I agree. You didn't see the last movie, the 2014 one, the one before it.
Yeah.
But it actually opens up where you get the family dynamic before the tragedy, and
Okay.
you see a little bit of it before. So it's Walter White. No, like actually, it's Bryan Cranston. He is one of the leads of the movie. Okay, and he works in Japan at I believe like a nuclear power plant. Naturally, some shit goes down. What are these Titans attracted to? Nuclear power. So at some point, something happens. I don't really remember the precises, but basically, he has to, you see the spillage coming out into the air and everything and all this stuff, and you see all the employees running down the hallway as he's looking. Well, his wife also works there. He has to lock the door, contamination, and his wife's right on the other side.
Gotcha. I mean, that's more of a cool concept.
Right.
At least that one's
so you see that, and then he spends his life. Well, at the time, it's a government cover up.
Yeah.
They don't know about Godzilla. They don't know what's going. And I don't even think it's actually Godzilla. I think it's one of the Mutos, which you see at the end of the movie. You see, it's one of the creatures that shows up and bows to Godzilla. It was the one that kind of looked like it wasn't the spider, but the other one that had the polygonal shape to it.
There was one that kind of looked like a mammoth.
Well, there was the mammoth. There was
Yeah.
the actual spider.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that was kind of bug-like, but it was a little bit beefier than the spider and only had 4 legs. So Godzilla fought 2 of those in the last movie. That was, and to my knowledge, that's an original character from this American series or an original monster or whatever. Whereas Ghidorah, Rodan,
Those
the
are all,
fire one,
in the-
these are all in the old movie.
Yeah.
Mothra,
Yeah,
Mothra got a
yeah.
crazy redesign in these ones. She's much smaller, and these movies. In the old ones, her wingspan's just like Ghidorah, really big and wide. Seems a little beefier. Probably could take more than one hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say the designs of, like I said, as much as I hate on the whole people and family aspect because I really don't care about it.
I think it could. I think it could have been set up so much better, and it would have done the movie so much more.
Like I said,
grace.
What you're telling me about the last movie, that alone, and the synopsis you gave me already sounds better than what we got in this movie.
Bryan Cranston dies within the first third of the movie.
Okay.
Well, okay. To be fair, there's a time jump, and you're introduced to his son, who's in the military, and he's he becomes the main protagonist for the rest of the movie.
Well, like I said,
which you do see his perspective in the beginning, but okay.
I just think that that movie that you're telling me about sounds more interesting with the people side of things, at least for a family dynamic, than just, oh no, we didn't see the kid die, but we saw him in the wreckage when Godzilla was fighting this other monster.
Well, that was it. Yeah, that was the end of the movie.
I don't care.
I know.
You know what I mean? I don't. Cool. Andrew dead guy. Whatever,
Andrew dead guy
playing with his little ball and running into the street as Godzilla's fighting some monster, and then.
Hey, Godzilla, catch!
Godzilla, here! And then he just, stomps on him, and then, you got this family from this movie that are like, no, Godzilla, you'll pay! And Godzilla's just like, back to fighting. You know what I mean? I don't care about this dynamic of this family.
Well, anyway.
And then, like I said, the other half of the movie of people is just, retreat! 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 Cool. How many times are we gonna go in somewhere and retreat for the 50th time before we move on to something cool?
Yeah.
But like I said, once we get to the monster aspect of it, that part is cool. This is the stuff I'm expecting. Godzilla's design, dope. All the other monster designs look super cool, super realistic. Yeah. And the damage that they do to the cities and everything around them, awesome. It looks so good.
How did you feel about the kind of color coding of each of the monsters?
What do you mean?
Rodan, he elicits red. The fire, the lava.
They all basically have their own specific
Ghidorah, color. You've kind of got your thunderstorm, the lightning effects, the yellow, really prominent, right?
Yeah, I actually.
And then Godzilla, blue.
Mm-hmm.
Mothra, interestingly enough, kind of showed a difference of color, almost as if she could switch between her thoughts of nature, but ideally in her nature blue as well, which kind of represented the good, the good characters, little
Yeah.
team up.
Yeah, I was gonna say blue being seen as like a lovely color versus
Yeah,
red being
yeah.
always persuaded to the villain side of things.
Right.
Like I said, I was actually surprised that the yellow color for the three-headed dragon monster, because I assumed when he came out and they're all looking at all the people, I'm like, oh, here comes the fire, and then it's all like electric. I was like, all right, the electricity, like lightning stuff, that's cool. That's different. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting your basic
Yeah.
fire everywhere. Everyone's like, oh man, melting.
Yeah, I think so. Going into this, or okay, how do I want to say this? One thing I want to say that isn't going to be a major spoiler for the next movie, but like, I think it's so interesting rewatching this movie now and knowing how Godzilla versus Kong goes down. There is and there isn't a lot of setup for that movie, and a lot of it actually feels really forced. Like at the end of the movie, they're like, Godzilla's like tearing the hell out of Ghidorah's last head.
Yeah.
And they're like, good thing he's on our side. And the one girl goes, for now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because, of course, they're going to show Godzilla as the potential villain for the next movie.
I was gonna say, like, wouldn't Godzilla be considered a villain versus Kong? Because Kong's just a chilling monkey on his island usually.
In the human's eyes, absolutely yes. Because even in the new movie, the trailer for the new one, it's like they set Kong up as the protector of man and Godzilla as the ruler
Last
of
resort.
The ruler of
the
Titans.
world. Yeah, gotcha.
Like he rules them, but Kong specifically
is like a
I'm looking
dude.
out for the people.
Yeah, helpful dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they actually lean. I mean, they kind of had that in the first Kong movie, which you had seen.
Yeah, I've seen that one a long time ago.
But they lean into that. Like they make Kong out to be the good guy, but then it's like of the Godzilla versus Kong. But I'll let you see that when you see
when
it.
I get to it.
But
yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that because I like Kong as a character, and I mean,
I think if you could walk away from this movie thinking it was okay,
yeah, it was okay.
I think you'll for sure like the next one more.
My thing is like,
because like
this movie made me think Godzilla is cool, especially in some of his shots and stuff.
Oh,
but like, there's not enough time with him. I think he slept on through an hour and like 30 minutes of the whole 2-hour movie. Actually, probably an hour and 45 minutes of the movie he slept on. He's not anywhere near. I do like the idea that he dies midway through the movie. Or not dies, but like he's basically like out of the fight for a while.
But so does the pacing around those points.
Yeah.
Not even because it's not Godzilla. It's just like the human plot lines drag on. That's when they're like, that's when you really get the back and forth of like, okay, we know the mom is bad, and we're like, oh, back and forth with that. But like,
we're in the center of the earth now.
That's actually a huge plot point for the rest of the franchise going forward.
That's cool. But like that moment to me, I'm like, cool. We're in the middle. Cool.
But it gets cooler.
I'm just saying, like this point of the movie, like I like the idea and concept of like him being out for a little bit, but dude, oh my god, but him being down for the count and them having to like use a whole entire like atomic bomb or whatever to bring him back and recharge him. Yeah. That's cool. I like that concept, but like, wow, I can't believe this whole freaking True Blood have an ass storyline for these characters that I don't care about.
Yeah,
I'm here for the monsters, man.
Like, I think you talked about how you weren't sure if you liked the Orca, the device used to control them. And controlling them is, I think, earlier in the movie you had like more of like less of an idea of what it could actually do.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because of the Mothra being kind of on their side already anyway.
Yeah,
so like,
Mothra was able to truly be calmed down because she was inherently good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You weren't going to calm down Ghidorah.
Well, he just got annoyed. Like he just went after the device.
He didn't like hearing anything.
I was gonna say when he heard it, he just went for it. He was just like, he like deep throated that whole entire radio tower.
God, I wish I was the radio tower.
What? I mean, he does have 3 heads. I mean,
where are the other 2 gonna be? Never mind. Never mind. You know what?
You're the one who said. You're the one who said, "Sign me up."
I've already imagined what they can do.
Good for you. Good. You do you, man.
Thank you. It will be good for me.
Someone help me.
Anyway, that being said, let's kind of more mechanically break down what we did and didn't like about the movie. And
you first.
A little bit of a final verdict.
Because you're the big fan of Godzilla.
Because we're coming up here on 25 4-ish minutes.
There's
I feel
not
like
much else to talk about other than final verdicts
You don't
because
think
this
so?
movie, like I said, the monsters were lacking as far as fights and like what it should have been focused on.
They caught me lacking for Ghidorah. Apparently, I didn't even think I felt that way. But then we started joking. Now we do. But
Oh,
okay.
he has that character's Rule 34 on speed dial. He is just like,
Yeah.
as soon as I
Well, I
leave.
know you've seen a Ghidorah meme before, because it's got the two really serious heads, and then the one was like doofy looking, like. Ooh. You've seen it.
I've seen that.
You've
Yeah,
seen it.
yeah.
That's a Ghidorah. Yeah, so you know. Now you have a little bit more context for. They're all kind of goofy. They're biting at each other.
But I mean, to be fair, also you have like I don't even remember what it's even called. Cerberus. Is it Cerberus? Is that what it's called or whatever?
The
Like
three-headed dog.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say like there's things in like other different cultures and other different like stuff like that where like they have a three-headed thing. So like
Yeah.
when I thought of like three heads and stuff, I always immediately go to
Right.
him instead. But yeah, now I got a little insight on this guy now. This
Yeah.
little this little brain dead idiot.
Oh, I see. What I will say, man, okay. So final verdict kind of thoughts. Okay, so movie too long.
Absolutely.
And I really don't. I think there were adequate fight scenes. Actually, I do. Everything there I liked. However, what I didn't like was that slow down point in the middle where Godzilla was kind of down for the count. Not because there was no fight scenes, but rather because that's when the human plotline also dragged on. If the human plotline got way more entertaining or kind of picked up the pace in those moments, kind of like kind of legitimately like the first half hour of the movie.
I was gonna say I'll cut you like off for a second, but I was like, it's funny because like the whole like first 40, even 50 minutes to me was going pretty quickly.
Did you like that, or did you think that was a little too fast? I thought personally, I thought it was a little too fast, but I was like, well, if we extended that, that would have been a 2.5-hour movie.
To me, I thought it felt fine. There wasn't too much to complain about.
I think
for
there
me.
was a few scenes where we were switching back from Mark to the mother and daughter a
little too quick.
A little too quick, because it was jarring. It was like, okay, who are we paying attention to? Because what it would do is it would switch perspectives, but it wouldn't show them immediately. It'd show like the scientists that they were around talking.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, who
So
are
like,
we at?
okay,
Like,
which
yeah, who-
which
yeah.
people's people are we talking to? So like that was weird.
Yeah, I agree. 'Cause especially since they kind of are always around like the similar types of dressed up people. So like when they would do something like that, you're like, who am I following? So it got a little confusing with that. But at the same time, like I said, I thought at the beginning went at a decent pace. Like I said, you may think a little fast, but I thought it was doing okay. And then I remember like you paused it for a second and we were like 40, 50 minutes in. And I'm like, all right, this movie is doing all right.
Yeah.
And then that last like hour felt like 3 hours. I'm like, oh my God.
like I said, once we hit that certain point, and you even
Yeah.
said it, I was like, okay, listen, it's probably gonna pick up for you in the like that final act.
Yeah, the last
But,
like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I would say, I was like, great, awesome, cool. And okay, so with that being said,
Let's hear it. What do you
yeah,
got?
I've talked about pacing a little bit. It takes a noticeable dive in the center, just like Godzilla, and okay, I'm sorry, I was just cheap shot. It was funny. Speaking of Godzilla, he looks great in this movie.
Yeah,
I think
he does look good.
the one scene that I don't like, and it's been memed to death a lot here lately on Godzilla Twitter. Somebody did the math of like, you know, when he comes up out of the water after they've revived him,
Yeah.
and he breathes fire he breathes atomic breath into the air for like the title shot of the film or whatever. People are like, what is he standing on? Because he's not swimming.
I guess you're right.
It's
yeah.
the middle of the ocean.
He's just a big
And
chungus.
then somebody did like the thing. It's like he's either standing on a floating island right under the water, or the water there is really like very shallow. But the fact that there's a submarine right next to it is like, no, it can't be shallow. Has to be. So he's got to be a floating island, or he's just levitating. So yeah,
That's just picky though. At that point,
it is.
I
Picky.
mean, that's
It was just a cool scene.
Yeah,
I
that's
completely
stuff
agree.
like that. I never put into consideration because
No,
like, who cares?
I just thought that was funny. But
I mean, like the hardest of hardest reviewers are like, "This isn't scientifically possible."
right.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, who cares? Just we're here to watch a movie and have fun.
I get that. And with that being said, there's two things visually speaking I thought was really, or three things that really stood out to me. First off, the CGI, great.
Yeah.
I think this movie hardly ever faltered. I don't even think there was a scene I can specifically think of. However, From the different colors, like I said, very differentiated. They made it really easy to follow which monster you were seeing
Yeah.
at any point in time.
The only one I think you could even remotely confuse is like just from a quick glance is maybe the two flying characters, which is like your three-headed thing, and then the one that comes
Right.
out of the volcano.
Right.
Like
Yep.
I could see that being a little bit of confusing
And
sometimes.
hell, even
but
I'm pretty sure they only shared the screen for two scenes.
Yeah.
So, and one of them they were fighting each other, so they were already together anyway. So the visuals, great. I love it all. I think it looks good. The second thing, lighting. Man, I know that like the cop out was like, oh, Ghidorah's got storms around him at all times. Specifically at the dark in Antarctica at the beginning.
yeah.
Dude, that was so hard to tell what was going on for the human characters even. I was just like, man, this is disorienting. In which they're switching back and forth between them. And I think that's actually one of the movie's strengths when you can tell what's going on. Like when you see it at Fenway Park at the end, where like it'll be like the camera panning like it's a normal actual camera shot, like it's following Mark, and then the camera zooms out and then it becomes this wide CG shot of the monsters fighting. The movie's really smooth in that way.
Yeah.
Like I think it's really, really well done. And like bouncing off of that, I think a really cool thing with the cinematography and like the camera shots when a shot's entirely CGI, they do like these quick jumps around and like the zoom ins even to make it seem like somebody's actually filming it. Like they really like they commit to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They commit
yeah.
to that sometimes with the monster fights, and I think that really adds a lot of
Character.
kind of character to the movie itself, but then like weight to the fight scenes sometimes because like there'll be like a camera shake or something in there every once in a while. I mean, not always, but in that way, I think it does really well. And I mean, I like those aspects of the movie. The pacing is probably my biggest issue. The relatively uninteresting human plot, though I think it had the legs and the bones to be something great. I think it was just set up poorly with the family dynamic, and I felt like the orca was used more as a plot device rather than a cool concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is a cool concept. It's just like, with Mothra there at the beginning, like that's cool. Like it's cool there, but then it really just becomes a, hey, follow me. It becomes that. That's what it becomes.
I would have loved to have seen more Mothra actually. You don't really see him too much.
And no return for the next movie, naturally.
Really?
Well, she's dead.
Yeah.
However,
I'm gonna be real honest with you. I need to ask this question here. Madison and the father live in this movie. Do they come back in the next movie?
oh yeah,
Okay. I was just gonna say, if we went through this and then in the next movie they don't come back, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Madison, main character,
Ugh.
dad a cameo. But I will say this. This movie came out in 2019, was probably shot, 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the Stranger Things blowing up, basically. So...
Oh, is that why she's like the main character? Because
Well, that's why she's in the movie. However, I don't feel like honestly, Millie Bobby Brown acting in this movie, I mean, not amazing, but she's there.
Oh, in this one or the new one?
This one.
The next one.
The next one, however...
See, this one,
next one, I was like, okay, yeah, she's doing
I didn't have any problems with like acting in this movie. I think they all did okay. It's just
Yeah,
the characters just didn't really.
I thought
matter.
I thought even side characters like the one scientist that the one monarch scientist that gets like I laughed because she got eaten by Ghidorah on the Arctics. I was like, even she was like she was delivering emotional scenes with Mark in the beginning. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, like you say, none of the actors did bad at all.
Yeah.
I think they all did great. It's just again,
I thought
none of the characters mattered. I don't really care.
I thought Millie Bobby Brown was a little awkward in this one, but knowing what I know it's a better performance the second time. But she's also going to be a more experienced actor for the next movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
Because like this was her first big movie role.
Nice.
Like
yeah,
I mean,
she did all right.
she kind of broke out with Netflix Stranger Things, and she's been doing like those Enola Holmes movies for Netflix. But like Godzilla was I'm fairly certain her first like bigger blockbuster movie role.
Gotcha.
And honestly still is because Enola Holmes is just Netflix, so it doesn't matter. However, that aside, I don't know. I can't really come down on this movie as anything more than just like a popcorn watch. It's,
yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. It's as a Godzilla fan, it's good. It's just not everything you want out of one. Like I felt like the undertones of like nature and like how we are the disease. I think it was a bit on the nose by just straight up saying it. So the undertones were a little bit more like overtones. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. It's just.
What are we thinking? Well, let's hear it, dude. Always cooking.
I'm trying to think of some of the movies I've given like certain ratings, and I'm like, okay, I think I do like it more than that, but it's also personal bias. I'm gonna go 6.5.
Okay.
I think that's probably about as fair as I can go.
Gonna be real honest, I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna rate this like an 8 just because Godzilla's in it. Because like you're a huge Godzilla
dude,
guy. So.
Okay, so of like Kong Skull Island, Godzilla 2014, the first one. This one's Godzilla 2, and then Godzilla 3 is Godzilla versus Kong. Of those, this is my least favorite. This is my, like, I knew you probably wouldn't like Godzilla 2014, but like there is a thriller to that movie. Like there's a different aspect that almost I think you might appreciate, but I didn't want to take the gamble.
I mean, if the next movies are gonna feel more like this anyway, I mean, it made more sense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, let's.
Sense.
It goes more into the zany from here. So
yeah,
let's just start with where it starts to matter. Okay. Plus, this movie with the Hollow Earth stuff, it sets up a lot more with Godzilla and Kong, and I mean, where all those apes are in the trailer for the
that's
new one.
That's probably down
That's
there.
Hollow Earth. Yeah, so
bigger.
That's just them exploring it further.
Yep.
So
right. Cool.
You know what I mean? So like, I felt like this was the first movie that mattered as far as that goes. Other than knowing who Godzilla is. So. That being said, 6.5 for me. I think that's probably about fair. I think pacing really brings it down a lot. Human plotline bring it down. But I think the visuals and the Godzilla and monster action, pretty good. And the sound design, oh my god. The soundtrack, dude. Bear McCreary, fucking God of War guy. Also did the Walking Dead's theme.
I know he did a movie for one of the ones we watched because we were talking about it.
Yes, we talked about, was it the one with... The body swap?
Freaky? Was it Freaky? Freaky's the body swap movie we watched. I'm just saying, is that the movie he composed or worked on? I just know that there's a movie that we have done a podcast on where he did already, because we brought him up before.
Yes.
I just don't remember which movie that would have been.
Go ahead and kick into your final verdict, and I will have an answer for you. If you've got one. If you've got a final verdict.
I just thought that was the movie. But cool. Anyway, so
Happy Death Day.
Aha, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I knew it was one of the movies we watched. Which Happy Death Day.
There might be another one, but
what a good. All right, so this movie here is my first introduction to any Godzilla movie. I obviously know who Godzilla is. I know a lot of these monsters, or at least I've seen pictures of them and maybe even GIFs, videos, whatever. I know a lot about like the monsters and their aesthetic and what they look like.
Yeah.
Godzilla, I understand and know more. Before coming in, I knew about like his origin more than anything. Anything in this new universe that we're creating here, what we're going into, I don't know anything. I mean, obviously Kong. I watched his like newest movie like back then.
Yes.
Like I watched that. That was a good movie.
That is a great movie.
Like I said, that movie's actually really good. But this one,
unironically, probably my favorite one.
But. I mean, so far from this movie, yeah. But, this movie coming in, I'm like, all right, it's a Godzilla movie. I'm expecting to see some Godzilla action, which you do get some action. You get some good, especially the end, you get some...
I saw Ghidorah. I thought I was getting action, you know what I mean?
You are. I mean, you're going to look up Rule 34 after we're done recording here. After I leave, of course. I don't want none of that. It's all him, baby. So, I was expecting a lot of monsters. His hands will be busy, you're right. I'm going to have to type it in and leave.
Damn.
Like I said, the whole human thing, I knew there were humans and there was like stupid subplots in these movies. I knew that like that existed. But like I at least thought they'd be interesting. Like I said, my biggest complaint is the human stuff. And this family, I don't care about. I don't care about fucking Sebastian from Evil Within. Losing his son and then his wife being an ex-wife and then his daughter basically looking like he's betraying him and picking the mom. Like, all that stuff, sure. Sebastian, just stick to Ruvik. All right? I don't need you in this movie.
You are striking a really thin niche with your reference on that one of Godzilla fans versus
listen,
Resident Evil. I mean, or Evil Within.
That's what I think of anytime I fucking see these characters because They got damage.
They got brain damage. I agree with you.
So these characters that are humans, I don't care about any of them except the one guy, like I said, who had like you could just feel like there was some tension there with his scenes, and like going down there to reactivate him was such a cool scene. But the human stuff is what takes up 80% of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I'm really hoping, like I said, I know you said that I'll probably like the next movie and all that. So I'm really hoping that Kong and Godzilla, with it being called like Godzilla versus Kong or whatever, okay. I'm really hoping that
Can I give you a major teaser for something?
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
You didn't like that Godzilla had the spam moves, right?
Yeah.
Once again, because they had to make it fair, basically. They make it to where Godzilla tries and like he gets interrupted or something, you know, like
okay.
They make it to where he's a lot more melee focused.
Good. That's what I want.
And it's a lot and it's like Kong swinging around and Godzilla like there's this one scene of Godzilla, I'll tell you when we get there. It makes me so happy every time I see it.
Okay.
And there's just so much to love about that movie and you're going to.
Like I said, human plot stuff, trash. Get it out of here. Don't care. Terrible.
Get them out of here.
However, like I said, the monster fights were really cool. I love their designs. Their designs are dope. Like you talked about, especially the colors. I like the color palettes they get. They look really clean. I mean, seeing Godzilla charge up blue, like basically going from bottom all the way to the top.
You're gonna love the
really
color.
Cool.
You're gonna love the color in the next movie too.
So, all right.
They fight in Hong Kong.
All right, we'll see. That sounds dope,
dude.
So. The monster stuff was really neat. I like the designs, the colors, everything about it. It looks visually great. I don't have any complaints. The world destruction's really cool. Like I actually like all that stuff. The problem is there's so little of it. So I'm really hoping in the future films going forward we see more. That's what I want. That's what I need out of these movies. So with all that in mind, Godzilla over here spamming his one move. Like I said, it's so wild. Every time you see him on screen when he does attack, he's like. Beam, like cool. The first time was neat, but let's do something else. You know what I mean? Like Mothra put in some more different attacks than my man Godzilla did. Yeah, like at least Godzilla flew around.
Mothra had the shank.
Yeah, he's like shanking them, dude. Like you know. So I need to see more monsters.
Her healing pollen.
More monsters, more monster fights. That's what I'm here for this franchise, and that's what I'm gonna need in the next movie.
We need to play the Godzilla fighting game. So
I'm gonna say you rated a 6.5.
Yes.
So I'm a guy who's a horror guy. I love horror movies. I don't do action movies really.
Yeah.
So coming into this again, it was the underdog of if I'm even gonna like this at all. So, but
are you pleasantly surprised?
I'm surprised at the fact that like I like the monster stuff. Okay. That stuff was cool, and if we did more of that, I would have loved this movie a lot actually. Because like the fighting is what I'm here for. The whole drama subplot, some like Netflix cash grab having drama that I don't care about. You know, if I wanted to do that, I'd spend $30 a month to watch it because Netflix is getting its prices raised again.
Dude, I'm so glad I canceled it like 6 months ago. I'm so happy about that. I'm not even upset.
Password sharing? What's that?
Disney's doing that now too.
Listen, you want to watch horror movies because I'm a horror guy? 2B is the place. It's free, great selection. Okay, back to this movie. You rated a 6.5 as a Godzilla fan.
As a G fan.
This is my introduction. I don't like action movies like at all usually. I'm going to give this a 5.5.
5.5.
Because there are things I like in this movie, and there are things that I could see in the future going forward that could make me bump that up a lot if we get more with the stuff that I like. I don't know where we're gonna go. I know you said I'm gonna like the next movie more.
Outside looking at the stats. You know, we'll end the video here in just a minute.
Okay.
The next movie's shorter. The next movie, based off of monster screen time alone, has almost doubled. All right, and I will tell you from one thing I like. A lot more daytime stuff. A lot better color.
Okay.
Or maybe not color, but lighting.
Yeah, just easier to tell what's going on.
And there is no dips in visuals because of it. Like, in this movie, you might think, okay, well, they're doing it to mask shoddy CGI, right? Like, they don't have to be as detailed all the time. There is, I'm not saying there's not darkness in the other movie, but that's not what it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's awesome. And, like, there's so much that I'm looking forward to for you seeing. Kong is, in my opinion, like, the main character.
Which is cool, because I like Kong, especially from that one movie.
Because, we'll see it probably next week.
Next week, probably.
We actually probably have a week to spare. So if we wanted to do something else next week, simmer on this concept of Godzilla,
Then go back to it.
We would do that and then go right into the next one. Yeah. That's fine by me. But whenever we get to it, like, man, because it kind of follows the human plot line. Once again, there's kind of two branches of it, but it's very different, and they're not converging in the same way. So it's unique in that sense, and I think you're gonna like it a lot more. Like just out, quote me, and we'll bring this up in 2 weeks or whatever. Or, yeah, 2 weeks. I think you're gonna like it a lot more.
All right, I guess we'll see, because this movie was
like, if this is a 5.5, I think you'll give the next one at least 6.5. I think you could be in the range of 7.
All right.
I think. I think it's gonna, like, if knowing what you liked about this one, I think the next one's gonna play to your sensibilities a lot more.
I would say this movie is definitely like,
and especially now that you know what to expect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like I said, this movie was a decent first watch. It wasn't terrible by any means. It's just, again, like all that stuff we talked about, and then the pacing. It just feel like it taken a while to get there.
No, I agree. Everything you say, I agree with.
But like you said, it was a good popcorn flick. I think. If you've never watched it, watching it, for the first time is worth it. I just don't think I'm ever going to watch this movie ever again in my life.
I mean, up until now, I'd probably seen it 2 times. Mm-hmm. The first time I watched it, and then I watched it again for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, to get ready for that.
So, once again, I'm doing it.
I like the little implications that you see Kong on his island doing his own thing, and like some of the screens.
And those are, I'm pretty sure those are even shots from
the movie.
The Godzilla, not Godzilla vs. Kong, but Kong Skull Island. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. If you agreed with us, cool. If you didn't agree with us, cool. Tell us why.
The fortune cookie told you to sub, man.
All right,
man. I'm saying.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.